Welcome to EZICHEQ. Today, I'll be taking you through an in-depth look at checklists and how to set up the two different types: user certification checklists and item checklists. Let's start with user certifications. Some checklists are designed so that completing them successfully will grant the user a certification. Under Account, Certifications, click Create New Certification. We'll need to give this certification a name and a description. In this example, let's do a forklift operator certificate. You can see the certificate info here: name, status, description. The certification exceeds means if certification 2 exceeds certification 1, then all those who have level 2 certs will be able to complete level 1 checklists. Here's an example. Driver's license class 2 exceeds driver's license class 1. So if a checklist requires driver's license class 1 to complete, the user can complete the checklist because their class 2 license exceeds and includes the competencies of class 1. Next, we have the default expiry. You can set this to days or months. In this example, this license will expire in 36 months. And lastly, categories. Categories allow you to organize and report on your EZICHEQ items easier. On the left-hand column, you can see that we haven't set up a competency checklist for this certificate yet, so we'll go back to the certifications page. On the left-hand column, we'll select Certification Checklists. Let's build a certification checklist together. We'll need to give this a name. Let's call this Forklift Operator Competency Test. And this will need to be for the Forklift Operator Certificate. Under the checklist details, the main thing you'll want to do is disable the immediate feedback. This way, the user will only know if they've passed the test at the end. Next, we'll need to select the certification that they'll achieve upon passing this competency test. The admin will have to approve this before the user is fully certified. Then you have expiry dates and the ability to attach files to this checklist as well. Some examples would be attaching user guides or H&S documents. Moving on to checklist questions. Here, we'll type the question. And because this question requires the user to give us 2 answers, we'll need to set this as multiple choice. We'll click Required and allow multiple answers. Here's where we enter a few choices as potential answers they can select. You can also provide hints to help the user answer this question. We'll need to choose which of these are the correct answers. So we'll know if the user passed or failed this test. For this, we'll select the Fail When option. Because the correct answers are the electrical voltage in the line and the pylon material, we'll have to select the other 2 as Fail. I'll add a couple more questions now. Once we're done with all the questions, we'll head back to the user certification and select Forklift Operator Certificate. We can now add the checklist to this. This certification and checklist or test we've just created is just for your company. We also have library certifications, which are universal. Under Accounts, Certification Library, these are all the universal certs and checks that you can copy. If one of your users gains one of these certs, they can check any checklist that requires this certification, regardless of the company an item belongs to. Lastly, under Users, here is where the admins can manage their users' certifications. You can also manually add certifications from here by clicking Add User Certification. Now let's look at setting up item checklists with all the different question options and conditions. Under Account and Checklist, we'll select Create New Checklist and we'll have to give this a name. Let's call this Training Checklist. Under Checklist Details, I'll point out some of the key settings. Require certification to check. This will make this a certified check, which means only qualified users can do this check. Restrict checks. By default, all EZICHEQ checklists that don't require certification are able to be submitted by anyone without an EZICHEQ login. Submit this other checklist automatically when this checklist passes. When this checklist passes and you want that to count as also passing another lesser checklist, you list this checklist here. Frequency. Here's where you can set the frequency in which a checklist is required to be completed on an item, either a number of days or months. Moving on to checklist questions now. First, we have a simple yes or no option. Next, we have a yes, no, or not applicable. We now have a required field, which will make this question mandatory to answer. I can also set up conditions based on the outcome of the previous question. There are some other question options here for text, but let's look at a slightly different option. Numbers. Here you can type in a number and choose to fail if it's less than or more than. Here, I want to set it so that if the answer is less than 5, this will mark the item as unsafe. Lastly, we have multiple choice questions. We'll do a very simple example here. In the questions, I'll type in an easy math equation along with 4 different options, only one of which is correct. The others will fail and make this item unsafe. You can also allow multiple answers. EZICHEQ. We make digital inspections easy.